Hi, I'm Savannah Sasser, Executive Chef of Hampton Inn Hudson, and today we're going to be doing one of my favorite pastas, but doing it in a spring version, so it's a little bit lighter. So let's take a look at our ingredients. We have shallots, Kalamata olives, capers, grape tomatoes, angel hair, garlic, basil, some white wine, olive oil, butter, and of course, Springer Mountain chicken thighs. And don't worry, if you missed any of the ingredients, they're listed below. So let's get started. We have our shallots already chopped. I'm going to take these Kalamata olives and we're going to quarter them. I like to quarter them to keep them a little bit smaller because they're on the salty side. As I'm cutting the ingredients, I have my water coming to a boil. It's important that when you're making pasta that you put a lot of salt into it. You want it almost to be like seawater. So I have cut these tomatoes in half, but just to do a quick demo for that, we're going to take a couple of tomatoes and we can just simply cut them in half. And then again, if you don't like them super large, you can cut them like that, or you can even cut them in quarter. It's very easy. It's kind of whatever you're into. I like to keep them slightly large so they break down a little bit, but still keep that freshness. I'm going to take the chicken thighs, season them with salt. And for this dish, we're going to be doing everything in 2 pots, so it'll be nice and easy cleanup. So I have my cast iron heated nice and warm. I'm going to add some butter. And a little bit of olive oil. The olive oil prevents the butter from burning. So as that's melting, I'm just going to go ahead and take my chicken thighs and add them to the pan. Season side down first, and then once it's in the pan, I'm going to hit it with a little bit more salt. So while I have that cooking, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we cut the garlic. Feel free to use minced garlic that you already purchased at the store, but for this, I like to take the garlic, flat side down, my hand in the claw again, and simply slicing. The more times that you cut garlic, the bitter it gets. So I want to keep it nice and just thinly sliced. So next what we're going to do after our chicken is done cooking, we have some nice coloring on it. We're going to take a clean plate and just set them aside. With the heat still on, we're going to add our shallots and garlic. And we're going to cook those for just about 1 to 2 minutes. We're going to keep this as fresh as possible, so we don't want to overcook anything. So after that, I'm constantly stirring. I'm going to add our capers. It's important on this dish that you wait till the end to add salt, because all the components that you're adding are slightly salty. So this will ensure that we don't have an overly salted pasta dish. So we'll add a couple more, and then we'll add our Kalamata olives that we chopped. Make sure that we're constantly stirring. You're going to get all of that excellent chicken extra off the bottom of the pan and adding it into our sauce. After that, we're going to add our tomatoes. And the great things about these are you're going to keep it fresh. Typically, the puttanesca sauce was using canned tomatoes, but using fresh tomatoes will keep it light and fresh for the springtime. And feel free to use grape, cherry tomatoes. You can even use tomatoes from your garden and just slightly dice them. So as we let that cook a little bit, we do want the tomatoes to start to break down slightly. I'm going to start to cook our pasta. So on high heat and my heavily salted water, I'm going to add just a little bit of oil to the water. You want to make sure that it's a boil. If it's not boiling, it's going to allow the starch to come out of the pasta and then you'll be left with a sticky mess, and we don't want that. So as you see it sticking, I'm just going to constantly keep moving it until it all fits into the pot. So while our pasta is working, we're going to go back to our sauce. So now that the tomatoes have started to break down, they're a little glossy, I'm going to add our white wine. Today I'm using Sauvignon Blanc, but feel free to use whatever wine you like. And if you don't like wine, you can omit that and just do a little bit of rice wine or lemon juice. We're just looking for an acid. Once you add the white wine, you want to go ahead and turn your stove down to low. And we're going to add our chicken thighs back in. All of that liquid that we have from the plate, we're going to add back in as well. That's all the flavor, all of the juice that's coming out. We want to make sure we get that in the pasta. So while we do that, we're just going to allow that to sit for a couple more minutes. We're going to constantly stir our pasta to ensure that it doesn't stick together. Pasta takes around 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what type you're using. So now that we're close and our pasta is very close to being done, we're going to add the rest of our butter back in to the pot. We'll remove our chicken thighs. They're fully cooked. and just add that butter back in. You can either strain this in your sink, or what I like to do is just kind of take the pasta and with a little bit of that water, add it in. You get a little bit of the starch from the water, which adds to the sauce to make it slightly thicker. So you just want to continue to stir until the pasta is completely coated. Don't worry, it's not going to look like your typical pasta sauce. It'll be super thin. So next, let's go ahead and plate. What I like to do is kind of take that and rotate and do a spinning action to keep it nice and tight. And I do it in the pot so that I don't make a mess onto the plate. From there, I have a nice tight pasta spin, and then I spin it a little bit more to keep it nice and thin. And then I'm going to go back and get all of that nice tomatoes, capers, and olives that we have. Put those right on top. We'll grab one of our beautiful chicken thighs. And if you want, you can go ahead and cut the chicken thighs and add them back into the sauce before you add the pasta. So you don't even have to worry about cutting it afterwards. Now that we have our pasta and sauce on the plate, we're going to take the chicken that we cut and lay it right on top. And as it sits, all of that juice is going to go into the pasta, which will only add goodness. To finish this dish, I'm going to add some fresh basil. And feel free to use whatever herb you like. Basil goes great with tomatoes, so it's an easy find. And that is our springtime chicken thigh pasta puttanesca. For more recipes, go to springermtn.com.